Hello dear children, I Reema Singh welcome you all in my today's video. Today we will discuss class 10's poem Fire and Ice composed by Robert Frost. Dear children, I want you to watch the whole video attentively because at the end of this video I will tell you how to frame your answers according to the word limit. So let's start. Fire and Ice is a well-known poem by Robert Frost. It was published in 1920 in Harper's Magazine and in 1923 in his Pulitzer Prize-winning book New Hampshire. This poem deals with the two contradictory theories about the end of this world. One is fire and the other is ice. Dear children, before I provide you the detailed explanation, let me take you to the background of this poem because that is the place where the inspiration of this beautiful creation is hidden. It is said that once Robert Frost had a conversation with a famous astronomer of his time named Harlow Shapley. The poet asked him about the end of the world, at which he replied whether the world would end in fire or by ice. The poet was greatly impressed with this answer that later he composed a poem on it under the title Fire and Ice. The poem goes like this. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. In first stanza of the poem, the poet says that few people believe that the world would end in fire and few believe it would end by ice. But the poet would like to take the favor of those people who believe that the world would end in fire. The word fire is used symbolically to represent the desires of human hearts. These desires have the same intensity as the fire has. The poet himself has experienced the effects of bearing ill feelings. Each individual of this world is carrying this fire in his heart and is ready to cross all the limits to fulfill their dreams. Moving towards the next stanza, but if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of heat to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. In second stanza of the poem, the poet presents a contradictory thought by saying if the world has to perish twice, the ice is also sufficient as it has the same destructive power. Ice actually stands for hatred and numbness, which means absence of mercy, warmth and care that ultimately makes people cruel and they stop caring for others. The poet actually wants to aware the people from the destructive results of bearing ill feelings. He also wants us to understand the importance of peace and harmony. Dear children, I hope you have understood the explanation of this poem, so let's move towards the rhyme scheme. I have already told you how to find out the rhyme scheme. You just need to find out whether the last word of each line rhymes with each other or not. So you can see the last word of first line is fire. So in front of fire we will write A and in front of ice we will write B because it doesn't rhyme with fire. Now the last word of third line is desire and as desire rhymes with fire, so here again we will write A. Then again there is fire, so again we will write A. Now the last word of fifth line is twice and twice rhymes with ice. So in front of twice we will write B. Then there is hate. Neither it rhymes with A nor it rhymes with B. So here we will write C. Now the last word of next line is ice and because ice rhymes with twice, so again here we will write B. Then we are having great and great rhymes with hate. So here in front of great we will write C and the last word of last line is suffice which rhymes with twice and ice. So again here we will write B. In this way the rhyme scheme of the first stanza will be A, B, A, A and the rhyme scheme of the second stanza will be B, C, B, C, B. It's time to understand the literary devices. The first literary device is enjambment. Enjambment is the continuation of a sentence in two or more than two lines of a poem without using any punctuation mark in between. Next poetic device is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of same consonant sound in the beginning of two or more than two consecutive words or phrases. Next poetic device is assonance. It is the repetition of same vowel sound in a line of a poem. And the last poetic device that has been used in the poem is anaphora. Now, anaphora is the repetition of same word in the beginning of two or more than two consecutive lines of a poem. Let's understand them with the help of the poem. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. Dear children, you can see the poet has continued the same sentence till the end of line 4th without using any punctuation mark in between, and this is called enjambment. Next is alliteration. I have already told you that alliteration is the repetition of same consonant sound in the beginning of two or more than two words in a line of a poem. So you can see S sound is repeated in the beginning of some and say, and the F sound is repeated in the beginning of favor and fire. Next is assonance, which is the repetition of vowel sound. So you can see I hold with those who favor fire. So there is a repetition of O sound. And the last poetic device is anaphora. Anaphora is the repetition of same word in the beginning of two or more than two consecutive lines of a poem. So you can see in first two lines of the poem, the word some is repeated in the beginning. Dear children, I hope this information will help you to develop a better understanding of literary devices. Dear students, I know your half-yearly examinations are approaching. That's why I thought to tell you how to frame the answers according to the word limit. So be ready with your copy and pen to note down all important points. Here you can see I have mentioned the marks and their word limits. 1 mark question 10 to 15 words, 2 marks question 20 to 25 words, and 3 marks question 30 to 30. The first question is, what is the central idea of the poem Fire and Ice? This question carries 1 mark. And the answer is, the central idea of the poem is how the world will be perished, by fire or by ice. Because the question carries only 1 mark, you need to write a precise and to the point answer. There is no need to exaggerate your answer unnecessarily, and there is no need to struggle to justify your answer. Moving towards the next question. Justify that ice is also sufficient to end this word, and this question carries 2 marks. Let's see the answer that I have written. According to the poet, the ice stands for hatred. It is an element that makes the body numb. Symbolically, it shows the absence of warmth in relationship that leads people towards the hatred, and this hatred gradually turns into carelessness, which leads the world to the end. As this question carries 2 marks, here you need to write to the point answer along with justification, but it should not be too lengthy. You can see my answer is to the point, yet it justifies my point of view. It's time to discuss the third and the last question, which carries 3 marks. How does the poet's meeting with the astronomer Harlow Shapley influence this poem? Let's have a look on the answer that I have written. Poet's meeting with the astronomer Harlow Shapley influences this poem at a great extent. The title itself proves this. When the poet asked him about the end of the world, Shapley replied, either the world would end in fire or by ice. The poet has combined this answer with his own opinion and has proved that the fire and the ice that stand for desires and hatred respectively can destroy this world completely. In such questions, you need to justify your answers with the help of your personal point of view and some facts. But your answer must be a reflection of your understanding. Now note down some questions and try to write their answers according to the word limit. Question number 1. Which literary device is used in the beginning of first 2 lines of the poem? This question carries 1 mark. Question number 2. How can the fire end this word? This question carries 2 marks. And question number 3. Except the fire and the ice, is there anything else that can end this word? This question carries 3 marks. Dear children, I hope this video of mine will help you in your studies. In my next video, I'll tell you how to write the answers of 4 and 5 marks questions. Till then, keep reading, keep learning, and keep watching Philomaths classes. Goodbye.